Hey, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the grit of aging. Oh, I think this is going to be a good one. All right, let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Café Grit, the place to go when you've got a hankering for purpose, a taste for fulfillment, and you're tired of living the rat race. I'm your host, Beth and Campbell. Thanks for stopping by. Café Grit is now open for service. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Café Grit. Today we're going to talk about the grit of aging. Yes, the grit of aging. This will be fun. It's something I've been thinking about quite a bit over the last, few years. Before we start, my name is Beth Ann Campbell. I am your host of the Café Grit Podcast. Thanks for being here. For those of you on audio only, I am a white woman in my glory years, dark hair, it's up in a ponytail, and I'm wearing a lovely what would you call this, kind of tie-dyed athletic shirt today with my little dangly earrings and my glasses. So just a little description of me there, trying to be a little bit more accessible. So I want to talk a little bit about the grit of aging today and some of the myths that most of us grow up with. I certainly have a lot of myths about aging and things that are supposed to happen. We're supposed to expect as we get older, and hopefully we'll bust through those. I'm going to caveat this by saying I'm going to talk about some things that are my experience, and I'm not in any way saying that as we get older, some of these things don't happen. We do kind of live in a, well, what about me culture. So if you're going through this and thinking, well, that happened to me, cool, then it happened to you. And I just urge you to be very self-aware and understand that this is not a threat to you. This is not a dig to you if it applies to you. I'm merely saying that there are some myths out there that are perpetuated about all people are going to experience these things as we age. And I'm hoping that I can crush a few of them. So here's a list of some of the things that I thought about aging that I have learned through my upbringing and through exposure to people and thoughts over the years. So these are some myths, and I wrote them down, and I want to urge all of you to do the same thing. This is really kind of eye-opening when we start thinking about the things that we think about aging that we don't realize have been ingrained in our heads. So I want you to, when you're done with this podcast, or maybe take a pause and just write down some of the things that you think about aging or that you've been told about aging. So here are some of the myths that I grew up with. When we get to our middle years, our brains will really slow down. When we start aging, we won't learn new things, or it will be really hard to learn them. We generally slow down physically and mentally. Our brains will just shut down. Our bodies will shut down. When we age, here's one of my favorites. It's harder and harder, actually damn near impossible, to lose weight. We're going to just eat salads every day, and we're going to just balloon up. We will become less tolerant of the bullshit. This is one that I think might be actually true, but we'll talk about that in a bit. When we age, we'll become lonely, depressed. We'll need less sleep, right? We've all heard this one. When you're old, you only need like 4 hours of sleep. We'll be too old to start new adventures, right? We need to do that when we're kids. We need to do all of our adventuring when we're younger, when we can appreciate it. Because when we're old, we're slowing down, and we're not going to be able to start new things. And we're going to be miserable going through the change for our women, the change of life, right? So yes, I want you to write down some of the aging myths that you have. Have any of these sound familiar to you? Are these things that maybe you grew up, maybe this is things that you heard your parents or your grandparents, or just through media, movies, whatever, wherever we learn things. Have you learned any of these? Are these things that you were taught? So write down some of those. Maybe you have different ones that you've been taught to. Can't talk today. Speaking of taught, I clearly was not taught to speak correctly because I can't today. Just kidding. So I want to break these down a little bit in a few minutes. But After you get done writing down some of your aging myths, I want you to write down what you've accomplished in just the past 5 years, whatever your age, right? Because aging, the perception of aging is all relative to what your age is. So maybe you're 35 and you think, oh my God, I'm feeling like I'm getting to that point. Or maybe you're 50, or maybe you're 60 or 65. But whatever your age, write down what you've accomplished in just the past 5 years, whatever your age. So I'm going to tell you a few of my accomplishments in the past 5 years. And most of these I accomplished when I was over the age of 50. That's right, 50. So here goes. Over the age of 50, or in the last 5 years, certainly in my very late 40s till now, I wrote and published my first book, Where the Hell is My Bacon? Available on Amazon.com. Yes, wrote and published my first book over the age of 50. I started 2 podcasts. One of them is still running. That's this one, Café Grit, and you're listening to it. And thank you so much. The other one was a podcast I did with a friend of mine, and I will revamp that in some way, shape, or form because she's awesome, and I think she's an awesome podcaster. But that one we went on hiatus, pandemic-y stuff. I've been a guest on 3 podcasts in the last 5 years, over the age of 50. I created my own website from Squarespace. Okay, so I do have an IT background, and I have in the past done actual web development, so I'm not going to claim any major web development skills, but it's not, it's not a cakewalk creating your website from, it's not hard, I will say, if you're looking into it, it's not super hard, but there are a lot of nuances, right? Created my own website, designed and created. I quit my job of 16 years and started working for a consulting firm doing something totally different. This was when I was 49. And that was project management. I had dabbled in it a little bit before, but never as my actual full job. So I did that. Then I quit that consulting job and I went back to a previous job, which was totally different, which is where I am now, and learning new things. I wrote a bunch of articles. I created a brand on social media after the age of 50. I successfully completed National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, which is where you, in November, which is going on right now, go NaNoWriMo people, where you write and try to complete a shitty first draft of a novel over 50,000 words. And that's exactly what I did. I have a poster on my wall. You can't see it, but because it's not this poster, this one, which side? This way, Mr. Schnufflemunch. If you're on video. Over the age of 50, I started prioritizing myself. That's a big one. That's a huge one that I don't know that I had the wherewithal or the confidence before at least my mid 40s to start even thinking about that. I took ukulele lessons, kind of learned how to play the ukulele. I'm not great yet, but I'm getting there. And I can play, just so you know, What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes. Thank you. Thank you. Because I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. What's going on? That's right. I can play that song, folks. Yes. You're welcome. I know. It's just, it boggles even my mind how amazing that is. Right? Not like This Land Is Your Land or one of those other jakey ukulele songs, but I can play a fucking 4 Non-Blondes. Anyway, what else? After the age of 50, I learned a bunch of new software. What? You can't learn new software when you're in your glory years? Yes, you can. I mastered Canva. I learned pretty well Camtasia. I use mixed captions, GarageBand to mix my podcasts. I do all that myself. I started learning very recently Adobe iDesign. So yeah, a few other things. So it is absolutely possible and probable that you can learn new things in your older years. I'm helping my uncle write his book after the age of 50. Let's see, to date, this falls into the category of, we're just going to get fat and lonely. I've lost 63.5 pounds to date in the last 7 months. I started running again. I started strength training again, and I started an LLC. So this idea that somehow we hit our glory years and life just drops off. It's just crap. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I'm more confident, more self-aware, more able, willing, and determined to prioritize myself than I ever was before. Not that I wasn't motivated about things when I was younger, but the older I get, the more I feel this is it. This is where I'm at, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm just more comfortable with myself. So a lot of these myths are bullshit. Now, again, you might experience some of these things. Certainly women do experience difficult menopauses. I'm not saying that they don't, but it is not your destiny, right? So I think most of these myths are bullshit, except the one about being less tolerant of the bullshit. I do believe that one is absolutely true. Most of the women, at least that I've talked to, as they get older, they just become less and less tolerant of just the bullshit out there. Life's too short. It's kind of a mentality. I don't know. Maybe we see our mortality and we think, all right, I've got half of my life yet to live, and I'm not going to waste it on stupid people or dicks or bullshit. I don't know. I think, is that you? Does that resonate with you, people that are out in their glory years? So yeah, a lot of myths, but I feel like I'm healthier. I'm certainly more connected socially, more in tune with myself. Oh my God. And how I interact with the world and embrace the world, really more than I ever have. I have more grit, more determination, just for being like happy and joyful and positive. And that's not how I am every second of the day. I have moments, right? But generally, it's that pursuit of happiness, of joy, of being fulfilled, and less tolerant of anything that interferes with that negativity, anger, that even in myself, right? But certainly in others. I feel like I embrace that much, much more. So people, especially women, God, make your own fucking destiny. There are always going to be people out there who think that they know what you're going to do, maybe something that they went through. So of course, it applies to you, but the truth is that they don't. So all of these myths can be busted, right? So, our brains are going to slow down. You know what? Here's a news flash for you. Our brains slow down after puberty. It's just a fact, right? So it's not like all of a sudden you hit 50 and things go like, oh my God, I can't learn anything new. No, that's already happened, right? We're not the sponges. This is why I've said for years, like why the United States is so horribly behind many countries, particularly in Europe, where they start kids, as I understand it, or it's at least more likely that your child is going to be learning a language in their early years, because that's when you really, really absorb it. But it has nothing to do with your middle years. Yes, of course, our brains are constantly slowing down, but it's not like you can't learn things. You know what I find about learning new things? It's all about what you're motivated to learn. So sometimes I will sit in my day job in meetings and I will think, oh my God, this is like, I'm just not getting this. And I'm not, it frustrates me because I don't understand something, and I feel like it's just monumental that my brain is not going to pick it up. But I realize that no, it's a motivation thing. It's really, I don't care to learn it, or I don't want to learn it, or it's not my favorite thing to learn. I'm not motivated to learn it, because I'll go out there and learn fucking Canva, which is where you create beautiful graphics and such. And I did that, and it was very motivated, and use it all the time now, and I'm pretty good at it. So it's a motivation thing. The lose weight thing's another big one that when I started this journey that I'm on right now, the lifelong journey, the rest of my life journey, I really thought, am I going to be one of those people that I'm eating nothing and I'm still gaining weight? And you hear it all the time, like I can't lose weight. It's so hard. Every advertisement for almost every fitness program out there is, well, are you having trouble losing weight? You're exercising, you're spending time at the gym, and you're eating right. Well, I'm sure that happens for people. I don't deny that it does, but for me, I had to really kind of look at the truth, which was I was just eating too many calories and not moving enough. And boom, I have a waist now again. So it's not the end of the world physically when you hit your middle years. And women, we've always been told our hormones are going to fuck us up. And as soon as we stop producing hormones like we did when we were 30, then it's going to be all downhill. We're just going to get fat and belly fat and never going to be able to lose weight and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. It is absolutely possible, and do not consider it that it is your destiny that you can't lose weight. It is absolutely possible. I'm not lonely. I think I'll probably need as much sleep as I have. I don't think I'll ever be. I wish I could be a person who could have 4 hours of sleep, but I just don't think that's possible. And I think that's another myth. But so there are a lot of things, a lot of myths that I bust, and especially I like the idea that we can be in our 40s, our 50s, our 60s, our 70s, and we can still be doing new things, right? We make our own destiny. And, if you're like me, I think, well, when I was growing up, my role model for people in their 50s and 60s was my grandmother, and it was not a great role model. But you're not your mom and you're not your grandma, unless, of course, your mom or your grandma is a badass, in which case you should absolutely want to emulate that, follow in that great legacy. And I will be talking about my mom in future episodes, because one of the other great things about getting older is I start thinking about people and events in the past in a different way, from a different perspective. And it's very interesting, some of the things that I'm thinking about my mom. So I'm going to talk about that. But you know what? Don't fall into the lie that once you get older, you're done. It's bullshit. And I will ask you again, what are your myths? What are the things that you believe or believed about aging, and then look back and how have you actually crushed them? How have you actually disproven those myths, or how will you disprove those myths? That is what I want to know. So write it down, look at it. I was absolutely amazed when I started bulleting. I thought, I'll have 5 or 6 things, but I was really amazed at all of the things that I've accomplished in the last 5 years. And I just thought, that's really amazing. It was an eye opener, and I think it will be for you too. I think it will be for you too. So take that to heart, and of course, never forget, you are a fucking rock star. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Thanks for being here. Take it easy. I'm so cheesy with my endings sometimes. Thank you for being here, and take it easy.